Okay, the internet jumped back on. So we back in Lamentation, Jeremiah. Lamentation, Jeremiah. So when he said the yoke of my transgression is bound upon my hand in verse 14, and Yah delivered me into their hands, whom he was not able to rise up. So when we look at verse 15, he says, the Lord trodden underfoot all my mighty men in the midst of me. He hath called an assembly against me to crush my young men. The Lord hath trodden the virgin, the daughter of Judah, as in a wine press. You know what happens when you go in that wine press, get some wine, right? But look what these things say. For these things I weep. My eye run down with water. Because the comforter that should relieve my soul is far from me. My children are desolate, because the enemy hath prevailed. Zion spread forth her hands, there is none to comfort her. Yah commanded concerning Jacob that his adversaries should be round about him. Jerusalem is as a menstruous woman among them. When we look at, what does that mean when he say Zion has spread forth her hands? Gentlemen, what is that talking about when he say Zion has spread forth her hands? What come to mind? Why, you got an idea about them? Huh? When he was on the tree, ain't it? See, there was nobody to comfort him. He said, my God, why have you forsaken me? Who was there to comfort him? No one. No one was there to comfort him. No one was there to comfort him. But see, that's the difference. See, now we got a comforter. John chapter 15. Now we got a comforter for our sufferings. John chapter 15, verse 26. John chapter 15, verse 26. 25 is bad. 26 is good. But when the Comforter is come, whom I will send unto you unto the Father, even the Spirit of truth, which proceed from the Father, he shall testify of me. And you shall also bear witness, because you have been with me from the beginning. Man said, I give you a comforter, because you've been with me from the beginning. Because he said, I've chosen you from the foundation of the world. And another place, he said, I will not leave you comfortless. He said, I will send a comforter. I think that's John 16, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's John 16, if I'm not mistaken. It might be 14. Look at verse 14. Chapter 14. 14 ain't what I want either. But when you say the comforter, you got more, right? When you're going through all these things and you spreading forth your hands to God, you're looking for him to give you some comfort. The only way you're going to get some comfort is through your obedience. Without obedience, there is no comfort. Without faith, there is no comfort. You'll just be left to be crying out for no reason. There it is. It is John chapter 14. I think everybody done got back on there. About verse 15. If you love me, keep my commandments. And I will pray the Father, he shall give you another comforter, that he may abide with you forever. Even the Spirit of truth, whom the world cannot receive, because it see him not, neither know him, but ye know him, for he dwell in you, and shall be in you. I will not leave you comfortless. I will come to you. See, he came and comforted Yahshua when he rose from the dead. See, sometimes it looks like when you're going through stuff and you're dealing with stuff in your life, it seems like that the Lord has left you comfortless and he ain't came to you. But if you sit back and you be willing to endure and take the suffering, he'll come. And he'll comfort you. He said, yet a little while the world see me no more, but ye see him, because I live. Ye shall live also. And at that day ye shall know that I am in the Father, and in you. In you and me, and I in you. That day when that Spirit will come take hold of you, you'll begin to know that the Father is with you. And that the Son is with you. He won't leave you comfortless. You just got to be able to stand upright and endure. That's all it is to it. That's all that it comes into it. This child is crazy. If it was easy, everybody would do it. If it was something that everybody could attain to, everybody be saved. But see, it takes something in your heart. It takes something deep down to say, you know what? I'm willing to suffer for this man. Not only suffer from what I want to do and what I desire, but suffer persecution, suffer revilings and mockings, to endure sorrows, to even when I'm sorrowful to rejoice, to even when I lack, that I'm happy, to even when I'm hungry, I'm full. Even when I'm naked, I'm clothed. It takes something to be able to get in there and endure that and take that on. Knowing that there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and just because you can't see the light, it don't mean it ain't there. He can make a way out of no way. He said, you just got to believe. He said, you got to fear him that made the oceans and the seas that the waves crash up against, but don't overcome. Y'all have been out there to the ocean. He said that in Jeremiah about the 4th or 5th chapter. Man sat back and said the waves crash up against the sand, and the waves don't never prevail through it. They always go back. These people always talk about erosion. He said, but he'll never let them win. Because I bound the decree. I set the decree. The ocean and the sand must be separate. He done said the same thing in the decree. The Kodesh must be separate. The saints must be separate. The children of Israel, they must be separate. I set the decree. Back to Lamentations, Jeremiah chapter 1. When we look at about verse 16, how he said there was no comfort that relieved the soul because the enemy prevailed, because death done took forth, and the adversaries were round about him in verse 17, and Jerusalem was unclean, they were defiled. Let's go to John chapter 19. See how Jerusalem was unclean and defiled. You know, a menstruous woman, you got to set her outside the camp. Remember how we dealt with on Day of Atonement, that he had to be burned outside the camp? See, we're going to have to come outside the camp to bear that reproach. But look at John chapter 19. Or is it 18? John chapter 18, about verse 27. Or 28 again. He said, then they led Joshua from Capheus unto the hall of judgment, and it was early. They set themselves and went into the judgment hall, lest they should be defiled, but they might eat the Passover. See, Jerusalem was like a menstruous woman. These people were defiled. They were unclean. They needed to be separated. 2 Chronicles chapter 30. Probably about verse 14, maybe 15. He said, then they killed the Passover on the 14th day of the 2nd month. The priests and the Levites were ashamed and sanctified themselves and brought in the burnt offerings of Yah. Brought burnt offerings into the house of Yah. And they stood in their place after their manner according to the law of Moses, the man of God. The priests sprinkled the blood which they received from the hand of the Levites. For there were many in the congregation that were not sanctified. Therefore the Levites had charge of killing the Passovers of everyone that was not clean, to sanctify them unto Yah. For a multitude of the people, even many of Ephraim and Manasseh and Issachar and Zebulun, had not cleansed themselves. Yet they did eat the Passover otherwise than it was written. And Hezekiah prayed for them, saying, good Yah, pardon every one that prepares heart to seek God, and Yah Elohim of his fathers, though he had not been cleansed according to the purification of the sanctuary. And Yah hearkened to Hezekiah and healed the people. See, that was the whole key thing. These people were not cleansed. They had made Jerusalem unclean, like a menstruous woman. Y'all women know what you do with a menstruous cloth. But mom, you get rid of it, don't you? Keep it around. You keep it around. Well, nobody keep it around. Why do you think he had to put them people out of the land? Because they defiled it with this man's blood when they killed him. Same way he had to go outside the camp. But let's finish this up in Lamentations, Jeremiah. We got one more space to go. We got one more space to go. Lamentations, Jeremiah chapter 20. He said, behold, O Yah, for I am in distress. My bowels are troubled. My heart is turned within me. For I have grievously rebelled abroad. The swore bereaved. At home there is death. You know, he was grievously pained, exceedingly sorrowful. He was swore were coming and there was death. He said, they heard that I sighed. There is none to comfort me. All my enemies have heard of my trouble. They are glad that thou hast done it. He said, thou will bring the day that thou hast called, and they shall be like unto me. Let all their wickedness come before thee. Do unto them as thou hast done unto me for all my transgressions. For as my sighs are many, and my heart is faint. Revelation chapter 1, verse 7. That man said all his enemies heard of his trouble, and they were glad that he did it. He said, call on the day that you will bring whatever be like unto me, and do to them as they did to me. Revelation 1 and 7. Since you know the law says, since if a man shed by man's blood, by man shall his blood be shed. Behold, he come with clouds, and every eye shall see it, and they also which pierced him, and all kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him. Even so, amen. As they wailed at him to kill him, so that why they wail when he come to kill them, man. I am the Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end, and the ending, saith the Lord, which is, and which was to come, the Almighty. So he said that same wickedness, that same transgression that they brought. Let's see if them people were glad that he was killed in Matthew chapter 27. So they were glad that you did it. You gotta sit back and look at it. There's a lot of people, they be glad when you take on stuff for the Lord. No, that's good. That ain't nothing looking for. Don't really say nothing glad that they were glad that he did it, other than them screaming out, crucify him, right? But let's go to Ezekiel 36 and let's finish today. Remember how we were looking at that Ezekiel 47 with all those waters? Well, let's look at Ezekiel 36 and let's look at something. Starting at verse 33. Thus saith Yah. Thus saith Yah. In the day that I shall have cleansed you from all your iniquities, I will also cause you to dwell in the cities, and the way shall be builded. See, remember, because we just talked about how he assured a house, getting a lively stone to build that house up. Because we were cleansed from our iniquities the day that when the Ruach was given, when that man died. He said that the desolate land shall be tilled, whereas it lay desolate in the sight of all that passed by. And they shall say, this land that was desolate is become like the Garden of Eden. And the waste and desolate and ruined cities are become fenced and inhabited. Come on over here to Ezekiel 38. Hush, little boy. What they sound about to say? Ezekiel 38. That verse here that I want. Make it about verse now, about verse 10. Thus saith Yah, shall come to pass, and at the same time things coming in thy mind, thou shalt think an evil thought. Thou shalt say, I will go up to the land of unwalled villages. I will go to them that are at rest, that dwell safely, all of them dwelling without walls, having neither bar nor gates. Because he's sitting here telling you this people's coming back. He said he's going to rebuild this place like the Garden of Eden. Let's go look at Genesis chapter 2 and look at this Garden of Eden. Matter of fact, Isaiah 51 first. Isaiah 51 first. The whole objective is sit back and you look at something. Lord, thank the Lord. I mentioned this earlier. Thank the Lord. Isaiah 51 about verse 3. He said, for Yah shall comfort Zion. He will comfort all her waste places. He will make her wilderness like Eden, and her desert like the garden of Yah. Joy and gladness shall be found therein, thanksgiving in the voice of melody. Come over here to Genesis chapter 3 first. Say he going to make Jerusalem just like the Garden of Eden. Make it just like the Garden of Yah. That's why you heard this man say there were trees everywhere and all these waters. Look what happened in Genesis chapter 3 about verse 22. He said, Yah said, behold, man has become as one of us to know good and evil. And now lest he put forth his hand and take also of the tree of life and eat and live forever. Therefore Yah sent him forth from the Garden of Eden to till the ground whence he was taken. So he drove out the man, and he placed at the east of the Garden of Eden cherubims and a flaming sword which turned every way to keep the way of the tree of life. So why would they put out of the Garden of Eden, everybody? For sin. And why would we put out of Jerusalem? So sin. So he ended up making that place desolate. So that's why he turned back around and said, I'll rebuild this place which I made desolate with no man upon it, and plant back the people. Let's look at Genesis chapter 2, verse 14. Actually, it's verse 10. Genesis chapter 2, verse 10. And a river went out of Eden to water the garden, and from thence it was parted, and it became into 4 heads. The name of the first is Pison, that which compassed the whole land of Havilah, where there is gold. And the gold of that land is good. There is bdellium, and the onyx stone. And the name of the second river is Gihon, and the same it is that compassed the whole land of Ethiopia. And the name of the third river is Hiddekel, that is which go towards the east of Assyria. The fourth river is Euphrates. And Yah took the man and put him in the garden of Eden to dress it and keep it. Same sit there, you sit back and you look at Joel chapter 3, Zechariah 14. Same thing you see in Ezekiel 47. You see these waters watering these trees. And he said he took a man to dress it. That's Yahshua, because he got to dress it and keep this place. Back to Ezekiel 36. He said, so this land that was desolate, he said he going to make it like the Garden of Eden. He going to take that waste and desolate place and make it inhabited and rebuild it. He said, verse 36, then the heathen that are left round about you shall know that I, Yah, have built the ruined places and plant that which was desolate. Because the same way he planted and he plucked up. He planted Adam in the Garden of Eden and he plucked them up. He planted us in Jerusalem and he plucked us up. So he got to come back and plant us back. He said, I will build the ruined places and plant that which was desolate. I, Yah, have spoken it and will do it. Thus saith Yah, I will yet for this be inquired of the house of Israel to do it for them. I will increase them with men like a flock, as the Kodesh flock, as the flock of Jerusalem, in her solemn feasts. So shall the waste cities be filled with flocks of men. They shall know that I am Yah. What solemn feast is this talking about, gentlemen? After that, revelation, people back in that they might dwell. Alright, that's screw it. They don't need to record that. Love it. It dropped off and it's not going to do it. Revelation 2 and 7.